Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, November 8, 2023, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. I'm having a time for change call tonight at around 9 p.m. Eastern. A whole lot to talk about. Sri Ramana Rishi made a statement, realization of the self is realization of the God. It is not an experience of God. Rather, it is an understanding that one is God. Now, we've been programmed to believe that, and we've got 50, 60,000 religions on this planet. Boggling of mind. Unreal. So there's a lot of confusion in what people believe in and what they've decided to embrace, basically because of ignorance in the programming. Everything and everyone is here for our enlightenment. We are all in a grand incubation chamber called humanity. Now, it is designed specifically to bring the state of self-realization into our hearts and minds. Every being is a teacher in this mass school. Every single one. So it's like we're in this massive set that basically tells us that we are playing out some form of a game, but it's an educational version. Okay, so it's a game, but it's an educational game. You know what I mean? So we spend all this time, most of us, not knowing that this is a game. So we go through this life and other lives, and everything we do is learning. Everything. We each are teaching each other. We're both students and teachers. All day, every day, 24/7. Most of us don't look at it that way, but it is true. You meet somebody, but you're not looking at them, but in one way. What are they going to teach me? Or are they the student that I will impart something to? Every single one of us that come in contact with each other, it isn't random. Believe you me. It's never random. We interact with each other as we guide ourselves through the gods that we are. You might decide to take a different route or go to a different place that you haven't been to before and meet somebody. Complete stranger. Or someone that you have known but haven't seen in ages. So we are moving towards spiritual path. All of us. And we're not in a race. Right? So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get there before they do, or before he or she does. It's not a race. Every single one of us, situation, event, and circumstance in our life today is offering the perfect ingredients necessary for us to get rooted, grow, and blossom into our greatest potentiality. We're like baby eggs, each destined to hatch, break free from our ego shell, and enjoy this extremely alive, conscious, and deeply juicy existence. And as always, there is nothing, absolutely nothing missing for enlightenment to find its way to us. All of our problems, missed opportunities, and challenging life circumstances are the perfect, sacred situations, deliberately designed to inspire us to build our deepest connection to Source and harness our radical creativity. Without these sacred situations, we would be missing something that is like fertilizer. These essential stinky nutrients that make one deepen, evolve, and grow. Life is perfect just the way it is. And we are perfect just the way we are. With all of our desires and attainments, joys and sorrows, securities and insecurities. This life is an enlightenment incubator that we cannot escape from. We are imprisoned in the destiny to reach enlightenment in this lifetime, the next lifetime, or the next. Our enlightenment is on the divine agenda, the schedule of our soul, and there is nothing we can do to change this. We can try to ignore it, pretend it's not happening, or become distracted by a goal project that seems to be more important than enlightenment. There is nothing more important than one moving into enlightenment. Yet, still over the course of a lifetime, the karmic agenda remains the same. Our soul's destiny will always be to discover what enlightenment is, what it feels like, and what we need to let go of to attain it. Isn't it interesting? We're all programmed, right? From baby to adult. We're programmed. And we all know we're open vessels, but when we're babies, we don't have a clue as to what is what, do we? We're an empty vessel. So we're programmed into knowing certain things, becoming aware of certain things, educated. And that's really the gist of it. We are programmed by other people's thoughts. This is why so many people are, they say, well, I feel lost, or I feel this, or I feel that. It's because there's so many conflicting things that they have been programmed with that they begin to start questioning, which is good. Not judging of themselves, but questioning, getting childlike curiosity. The most ordinary, typical days of this life often contain the most potent aspects of the enlightenment incubation process. Every personal or business conversation, text message, email, Facebook post, and YouTube video we experience are the exact fuel we specifically needed in that moment for us to realize our path to greater freedom. Every moment we are alone, listening to our inner voice, being quiet, or simply doing nothing is also the exact fuel needed. Every challenge, argument, confusion, fear, desire, and indecision is also essential fuel for that moment. In any direction we turn, we find the perfect enlightening fuel is already there, ready to be used. We are surrounded by perfection. It is only the mind that perceives something else. This planet is the most sacred spiritual birthing ground, which is specifically set up for us to realize our divine nature within its womb. Each day, the sun shines. It's light on us. It's giving us warmth so we can relax, smile, and experience so many pleasures in this amazing body. Yet we get to enjoy our body each day and how its five senses are always interacting with the outer world. Our physical body is the perfect cocoon for us to go inside, find our soul, sprout our spiritual wings. This universe is constantly giving life to us from the inside. Our heart beating, blood pumping, cells rejuvenating, and breath flowing, our life coursing through us. Life is loving us from the inside and the outside. And these two worlds are merged together in a matrix of highly intelligent energy. At the deepest level, this life is the most deeply eternal, loving teacher there is. It requires no payment from us and works every day for us absolutely free of charge. It is constantly offering us free life lessons, which help our soul evolve in ways we never knew were possible. Now, this sweet love from life is so extremely generous. It's always gifting us free sunshine, free air, free ocean water. And if you're courageous and willing, all the free food you can find on the trees, plants, and catch in the oceans. We truly live in a divine ocean of loving, intelligent energy that supports every need we have. Even when we get upset, thrown off center, get angry, start to reject this life, push love away, life still continues to feed us, nurture us, and breathe our body for us. Life still loves us, no matter how we respond to it. The sun never stops shining on us, no matter how irreverent we are with it. We really don't have to do anything but show up and fully be in this moment of our life, right here, right now. And this act of showing up is all about surrender and takes absolutely zero effort. Zero effort. One of the most enlightening meditations is this. For 24 hours a day, open yourself to the idea that everyone is enlightened except you. Imagine and pretend that there's this huge pro-noack conspiracy. This universe has to wake you up. Everybody is a vehicle for the divine, and every human is your greatest teacher and teaching. Listen to others as if God, him, her, self, was speaking through them. The deeper we listen, the more we will hear the divine direction we are needing to go today. The inner voice is already tuned in, and it will start showing us exactly how we find our way home. Imagine that we are all eagerly waiting for us to become enlightened. We have arrived, and now we're patient, yet very excited about us becoming the great enlightening students that we were born to be. Our mission is to serve ourselves and help us step on board the enlightenment train, because we are the very last to arrive. It's not that we are less than anyone, nor missing anything on the inside. This enlightenment exam is just an assignment for the ego, and it will ignite some powerful insights in us. lighting up our spiritual path. The challenge, to pretend that everyone is enlightened except you all day long, is huge. I know. Yet take it on as an experiment for just 3 days. Explore how you and your experience of life changes. As you do this experiment, you'll notice how the quality of your listening changes with each day. On day 1, it may be somewhat superficial. By day 3, you may become lost in the seeing, feeling, and touching the divine everywhere you go. Continue playing with it past day 3, if it's working for you, of course. Noticing what you feel you need to let go of and how your perception of others and yourself changes. Become more and more aware of the immediate shift in consciousness that is created the moment you choose to step into this enlightenment incubator. Pretending that everyone is enlightened except you is a gigantic task for the ego to take on. So one small word of advice for you is this: be gentle with your teachers. Respect their teaching deeply by paying extra super close attention to what they are really saying underneath it all. Listen to what is your next step to finding freedom. Apply what is really going on in your life and see what is it that you most need to learn. Ask yourself, why do these types of people trigger me and why? Right? Why do these types of people trigger me and why? Notice what they are pointing at inside you that you don't love about you. Listen to what's being said between their words, between their thoughts. Feel deeper into what's actually happening in each new moment if you want to be truly free. The initial experience of enlightenment is very similar to making popcorn. The hard, small little corn kernels, ego, require loads of heat, pressure, to be covered in oil, juicy emotions, and need a bit of stirring, uncertainty, before they surrender, pop open, and expand completely into their light, fluffy fullness. The experience of enlightenment is basically a simple, sweet science. When the corn is popped, the hard shell of the ego is no longer holding everything together on the outside, yet rather the soft, fluffy part moves towards the outer, and hard, protective part towards the inner. When the real you comes out, there is nothing to fear or protect anymore. All the outer shells drop, and you become a very soft, open, available being who is full of love and here to be enjoyed by all. Everything that irritates us about others can lead to a better understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. Very true. Just watch your ego closely. Notice how it behaves very much like one of these little kernels of popcorn. It feels small, contracted, protective, hard, limited in its expression. It's condensed with loads of energy inside that are ready to be fully expressed given the right heated conditions. When our juicy emotions, oil, are added on top, something happens unless there is some real heat underneath. As we start feeling into the heated situations we are currently facing in our life around money, sex, relationship, love, work, health, etc., the heart turns on. By feeling our feeling fully, deeply, and thoroughly, our energy builds, making the heat even hotter. And eventually, we burst open, liberating ourselves from that tightly contracted, hardened ego self. This life, all life, is extremely intelligent. It may show up as a pressure we create within ourselves from expectations, assumptions, commitments, agreements, promises in our relationships, marriage, with money, sex, work, health. It may also show up from a lack of pressure. A lack of pressure. So it is a constant submittal. And we are constantly learning without question. It's not that enlightenment is only just some light, fluffy experience. This ego popping phenomena is the initial introduction to it. Real everyday enlightenment is living life in a very grounded, real, and always present way that is continuously integrating our dark, deep, wounded parts. It's as if the corn kernel gets popped once, then realizes there's another layer of tightness and contraction inside, and then gets repopped again and again and again, repeating thousands of times every day. You are neither consciousness nor its content. You are the timeless source, the supreme reality. Trust that, Nisargadatta. The popcorn, representing the ego, is a contracted state because it's busy holding too tightly onto our beliefs, fears, control, and the need to be right. When we relax, letting the heat of life come in to expand our minds and hearts in a loving, natural way, the experience of getting popped open by life is quite powerful and exhilarating. Instead of running from life, we face it, embrace, move into and through it. There is no more resistance to the hottest heat, which is all the things we tend to fear and avoid. We choose instead to welcome these challenges as opportunities to manifest a bigger, juicier life. We get out of the way and let life and its amazingness come truly in. At times, I read a definition or description of what love is, which needs to be said amongst the people of this planet to each other indefinitely. Love is infinitely patient and intentionally kind. It is the deep, sweet nectar found inside our very soul. Love is this softness that opens our heart, quiets our mind. It accepts every aspect of who we are and who we are not. Love knows you, believes in you, and clearly sees exactly where you are in your life. Love has no limitations on what it is and is not acceptable inside you. There are no boundaries around what love can and cannot approve of. It welcomes all your parts, inviting in the worst aspects of you with a warm, fuzzy heart and joyous, sparkling eyes. Love is the light that shines the way in the darkest hour of our lives. It ignites the fire. It guides our spiritual path, beckoning us to rise up and out from our darkest misery, to surrender, merge with great healing source of our being. Love is always fearless, always courageous, always present. It is never wrong, never misguided, and is never, ever afraid. It is the perfect state that cannot be improved upon. It is always accessible, always available, and always, always, always here now. Love is always generous, completely abundant, and constantly giving to others as well to itself. It is like the sun, an inexhaustible outpouring of life energy that shares its bliss for the pure, exhilarating joy of it. It is the eternal, infinite, inexhaustible source of life. Love says you deserve even more love, especially when you don't feel worthy of it. It invites you to surrender all your resistance and remember how perfect, sacred, and utterly lovable you truly are. Love feels all of your pain with you, holding your hand through your life's most panicked moments and never letting go. Love honors your deepest wounds, helping you to see how they are your greatest teachers. It is absolute empathy, sympathy, and has the most profound compassion possible for you. Love breaks down the walls of what we think is not possible. It inspires us to step into our life mission and highest potentiality. Love is the flame that ignites the great bonfire within us, needed to burn through our limiting beliefs so we can manifest the most amazing life imaginable. Love is the most amazing experience that we can have in this entire universe. It is the most gentle, exquisite feeling that is conscious, sacred, sweet, and tender. It holds you so softly and with such a strength that it sends tingles all the way up your spine. Love is the cure for every physical dis-ease, every mental illness, and unbearable emotional wounding we have. Love opens and relaxes every tension, immediately liberating us from all anxiety and worry. Invoking love into our body, it heals us instantly, awakening every cell to remember absolute perfection. Love is the doorway to eternal life. Love is devotion itself, fully committed to expanding our hearts into our lives. Love is the deepening and softening of our breath that awakens the healing purpose of our soul. It is the permanent, authentic smile within us, forever giggling at our worries, knowing the deepest possible joy is the foundation of our existence. Love paves the path for the greatest organic experience of our lives. It transforms ordinary sex into a sacred healing experience. Love unites lovers to merge and melt into the one divine source. It is the most personal, intimate, and deeply sensual experience we can ever have. Love is the spiritual energy that brings the highest form of life into existence. Imagine if we carry that every day and share it with everyone. What do you believe would happen? What do you feel would happen? There's a constant exploration for many of us to do what? Find out who we are. It intrigues us. When you get to a certain understanding, you begin to open the door within, focus on your breath, stay in the now, the space between heartbeats. We're seeking, aren't we? We're searching and seeking. Have you ever heard yourself or someone say that they don't feel like they fit in, or they're not supposed to be where they're at, right? It's all ego mind. We are at exactly where we are supposed to be at. All of us. And asking ourselves, who am I, is one of the most powerful life-transforming questions we can sit with. It is infinitively deep, always changing. Takes us on an inner journey that will provide spiritual sustenance throughout our life. The question is revealing and deceiving at the same time. Because it has no solid, real answer to it, does it? We think we have found the answer one way, and then something new happens where we must admit there's yet another part of ourselves we didn't previously see. The path of self-inquiry is endless, mysterious, and is a method to find true meaning, healing, freedom in this life. We are all seeking some form of liberation in this world because we have created a prison around ourselves to break free from. Prison is all in the mind, of course, which is an illusion. Once we understand what the walls of our inner jail are made of, belief systems and thought structures, we can dig our way out. The seemingly solid bars around us are ephemeral, mental, emotional patterns that define who we are, what we are not. The good news is that these personal beliefs formed about ourselves are highly malleable and will change when we are willing to see them for what they are. Our beliefs are powerful. They extend an imposed version of reality out into this world, forming an imaginary construct upon the blank canvas of this universe, molding the all-intelligent creative energy that surrounds us, and is then reflected back to us. The reality we see each day shows up in type of emotional sunglasses we're wearing. Our personal belief systems create a certain filter. giving life a specific texture, shade, continuity to color, how we see everything in our world, as well as the end-of-the-day experience of who we are. To unravel oneself is one of the most amazing explorations we can have in this life. It's a process of perceiving, accepting, honoring, releasing each belief we hold about ourselves to be true and not so true. If and when we stop to think about what beliefs we have about us, about you might start wondering, where did this belief about myself come from? How does it happen that we start defining who we are and who we are not? Why do we believe these thoughts about ourselves, even if they're not serving us and enslaving us? These are questions I invite you to sit with and see where they lead you. Remember, it's a perpetual unwrapping of the infinite mystery. And the answers are not as important as to what the question awakens within your consciousness. To perpetually drop into the root of one's core source of consciousness is the final goal of this journey. It's not a one-time shot, yet a continual and eternal falling and rising into the ecstasy of your being. Your soul is always here, awaiting for you to accept its presence at the core of you. It is ready to receive you, love you, serve you, and create the most miraculous manifestations for you. Simply surrendering to our core experience of ourselves for even 5 long, deep breaths can be enough to tap into it. This soul-touching experience allows all your best traits and love to shine forth upon the lives of everyone around you all day long. Initially, intentionally, discovering the source of your being is not always an easy task, as the ego is very strong. Prison walls of the mind are thick. It doesn't believe we always have access to an infinite sort of bliss all the time. The ego becomes very embarrassed, ashamed, feels stupid for missing this, and thus feels that there must be some massive mountain to climb and overcome to reach heaven here, now. Yet, the more we struggle and let the mind run the show, the stronger and more real the ego. And if its fabricated system of belief becomes, we must dig deeper inside to find the real path to freedom, which is super magical, amazingly powerful, and able to walk right through these prison walls. All the beliefs of the mind must be pierced all the way through if we are ever to find liberation from its imposing structure. We must choose to see and experience each specific belief for what it is, merge with it, dissolve into it, till there is nothing left of the belief or ourselves. When it comes down to it, the experience of finding freedom from the ego is actually quite simple. It's all about opening up to the most relaxed and non-efforting approach to this life we can imagine. We must choose to surrender all efforting if we truly want to arrive. It is only through trusting in this deep, sweet let go that we find the timeless, spacious, vastly deep connection with the divine. When we finally give up our inner battle, we realize how futile all of our past efforts have been. and what little power our belief system actually has over us. When we discover how deeply cherished and lovable we truly are, we stop being consumed with the outer and fall into what? We fall into the infinite mystery of the inner. This is the only place where absolute freedom can be discovered. It's found how we judge, label, and define others says a lot more about ourselves than about them. Our labels darken our sunglasses, blocking the full spectrum of colors from the divine to shine through and touch our soul. When we start digging into our own belief systems, they are the most powerful and personal things in this universe. They form every aspect of reality. That we believe is true. Approach them with this awareness. You can only find freedom from them along the way. See where your beliefs came from. Notice what age-specific beliefs formed for you and how they were handed down from other people around you. All of our thoughts about ourselves come from the outer world in this lifetime or another. We are at the very core and pure innocence itself, from all labels and beliefs entirely. We were simply covered up, like a light bulb caked in mud. But the beliefs of others imposed upon us. This realization is our innocent light nature, is essential on the path to freedom, total freedom. The innocent is more personally intimate than any belief will ever be. And thus is why our entire lives are wrapped up in unraveling who we really are. Remember, another step towards transcending one's belief system is understanding that they are not the enemy or something we need to get rid of. It is our resistance and need to control them, which is the real enemy. Life becomes a more rich and juicy experience because we are wearing so many pairs of sunglasses and having to release so many layers of mud about who we are and what this world is about. If we never formed a belief at all, we would only see the divine throughout the entire life journey. And there would be no exciting purpose. Our beliefs give us something to grind upon, push against, giving us direction, motivation, desire, and a sense of separateness from the source. This is essential so that one day we can dissolve through them, feel a sense of freedom, and return home. Write down all your core beliefs about yourself, others in your life, and this world. This step is so that you clarify them and see what they actually are. Once you can see them, you can embrace them so they're not just floating around the neuronal soup in the synapses of your brain. Realize that you created these beliefs. Take responsibility for each one, seeing perhaps who you stole it from, who shoved it down your brain, why you eventually decided to adopt it. The key to this step is taking ownership without any sense of judgment of it being right or wrong. It is simply a belief, a thought structure that was formed about reality. Have an experience of believing in the belief, and then exploring what it feels like to let it go. This release is the final step towards complete and total liberation, and ultimately requires no action at all. It simply happens on its own accord when we drop into the infinite source of our awareness, pure consciousness itself, the God. When we remain super conscious and aware while embracing this old precious belief experience, the merging happens that liberates us from this illusionary prison from ever, forever. Which is the real power? Right? Is it to increase prosperity or bring about peace? That which results in peace is the highest perfection. Sri Ramana Maharishi. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take a slow and easy breath in from the nose. And a slow and easy breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Enlightenment comes like a bolt of lightning. You can trickle throughout your life like a slow, soothing stream. Investigate today how you casually react to people. Excuse me. Notice if you generally have a protective hardness, lightness, resistance, friendliness, defensiveness, pushiness, or perhaps a needy energy. Watch what typical reaction you have with others and don't change it. Let it change into something else on its own. Be patient with it. Ask it questions that might unravel its past. Don't be attached to what comes about. Simply drop into it profoundly. Choose to be in your heart of your programming deeply and let the self-realization come out of it. This is the only thing that will stop the habits and is how you will evolve quickly in your consciousness. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here tonight, Wednesday, November 8, 2023, around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call, and Thursday, November 9, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on outside of you or within.